Okay then, folks. A quick confession to be made before we really get into the meat and potatoes of this. What you're seeing right here, this is going to be almost entirely post-commentary. The reason for this being that the section, I'm not going to spoil it exactly, but there's a section coming up that took a lot of time, a lot of re-edits, a lot of interruptions from outside, and as such, the commentary as recorded just wasn't very good, so I've redone it.
I think it went into the floor, maybe the ceiling. Sevastopol's a maze. Could be living anywhere. This must be what the marshals have been chasing. This shouldn't have been kept from me. Chief out.
Yet another audio log that I can't help but feel should have been placed much, much earlier in the game. That's the kind of thing that should have been used to build tension before you'd actually got, a decent look at the alien. In my opinion, anyhow. And this I don't understand. Just literally all of my weapons just there at the bottom of a ladder. I'm pretty sure it's never explained why they're. I mean, this isn't like, a supply bunker from one of the survivor groups or anything. Nope, literally just all those weapons I threw away earlier, just sitting at the bottom of a ladder in the middle of nowhere. For absolutely no reason. I mean, you're going to understand pretty soon why they've been given back to me, but absolutely no reason. This place doesn't even look like it's like the end of the conveyor or anything that we fed them into earlier. It's just randomly all my stuff's just there. Considering how meticulous different parts of the game have been in that regard, I don't know. I can't quite understand what was in mind there. Why on earth all my stuff would just be dumped ahead of my next objective?
I'm at the top of the reactor core, Ricardo.
You see anything yet?
What?
Nothing. Got some androids.
Have to speak up.
It's business as usual. I have to explore the lower level.
Should be an elevator down somewhere.
Yep, already on it. Actually, no, it probably means the one at the end of the sequence, doesn't it? Yes. Bizarre reactor, which I'm still not entirely certain how this thing works. It just randomly produces massive outputs of voltage, which then go somewhere. I don't know. Ooh, more goodies. Actually, come to think, I don't remember if this second little lift thing here actually goes anywhere or does anything. I don't entirely believe it does. Yeah, I was right about that. It's all the way at the end. Yeah, okay. I remember having to go through there. I just can't remember exactly where it was. Yeah, it doesn't work. But yeah, I don't know. Bit of a bizarre design choice in my opinion. Also, this entire section is a bit weird, if I'm perfectly honest. You'll see, obviously it's populated by androids, obviously can't chase you. There's a lot of long, narrow-ish walkways to try and compensate for the fact they can't chase you by limiting the number of directions you can go in to bypass them. And also, considering the amount of stuff that's going on around here, the distance over which they can spot you is absolutely ridiculous. There we go. I know it's going to happen at some point. I'm pretty sure none of them can actually see me from this position, and yet every single one of them is instantly alerted to the fact that I'm here. I have a terrible feeling that was actually, pre-scripted, hence why you abruptly get given all that ammo. Just in case as soon as you pass point X, all of them aggro, regardless of whether or not they can actually see you. Yeah, the bolt gun, I don't know. I have a feeling on lower difficulties this would be like a one-shot kill for fighting androids. Problem being, I'm playing on hard, which means I have to hit them at least 2 times, sometimes more, if I've not caused, enough damage. Also, if you cock up like that and accidentally release the bolt early, yeah, you're in trouble, son. But thankfully, the game does have that wonderful little feature, where once you've damaged an android, all of them temporarily stop trying to grab you. They'll keep coming towards you, but none of them will actually grab you. It's like they're all affected by the one android stun animation. I don't know if it's intentional or not, but obviously, of course, I took full advantage of it. I mean, because why wouldn't you? Remember all these buttons I'm running past, by the way. Those will be important a little later on. I do mean all of them. There's a very lengthy push button to achieve goal sequence coming up. Yep, that was that. Shoot one of them to cause them, all have the stun animation thing. Casually stroll to the other side of the reactor, into the elevator, and you are done. There's really nothing more to it. Which kind of makes me think it might have been better just to leave the androids out entirely, if I'm honest with you. They really do add almost nothing to the whole sequence.
Oh no. God, no.
Yep. This looks familiar. Contracts by H.R. Geiger. My flamethrower is here, again for no explained reason. Other than the fact, obviously, it's going to be useful. For what many of you can no doubt already predict is about to happen.
Ricardo, they're all here. Everyone that's missing. Everyone. They're trapped in some kind of nest. There are eggs. It's like a farm.
Shit. Just get out of there. Now.
Now, we're about to encounter something a bit weird in my opinion. There is a nest here.
Restore power to the platform from the conduits down here.
Yes, you will, Ripley. There's a nest here, obviously. Complete with resin-designed walkways and blah 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 for the aliens. Now, the point that I'm going to question, because obviously I already know what's coming here, is the fact that we go a fair deal through this nest. And yet, never do we encounter a queen. I mean, you could say perhaps we're not strictly running on the etymology for the alien that was established in Aliens by Mr. Cameron. But I don't know. There are things about it that bug me. Let's put it that way. More specifically, so you never meet the queen, you never get an actual hint of the queen, and yet, if they're running with what, as I understand, was supposed to be the original MO for the aliens' reproduction, that, some people would be killed for food, some would be used as raw materials to construct the eggs, yet other people, very lucky people, usually the women, would end up as, should we say, material donors, performing the facehuggers. And then once the facehuggers are formed, they would in turn start the next cycle of the process. It's a very inefficient way of reproduction. It's sort of designed to be horrific rather than, actually concerning. Speaking of facehuggers, yep, we're down in a nest. What did you expect? Keep in mind, by the way, that every time you fire a weapon, even the flamethrower, because as you can probably guess, there are a lot of people sitting around with chests burst open. There are going to be lots of aliens! Trust me, when you play this for the first time, it's incredibly tense and worrying. Only downside, once you learn that there are obviously multiple aliens on this station, it opens up some questions as to why you've only ever encountered one at a time. Not necessarily a bad thing to have only encountered one at a time, but like I say, it brings with it questions that require, in my mind, how doesn't cause very much damage, it's more of an annoyance than anything else. It does open questions to why you've never encountered more than one at a time. It does make it sort of implies that you've not actually been being chased relentlessly by the same creature. Rather, you've just had the misfortune to encounter the hunting grounds of several. Also, the things like the whole sequence where the alien seemingly gets blown up, or at least vanishes, during that whole first trap that you encounter at the medical reception. Which, again, sort of takes away the notion of this thing as an unstoppable killing machine, because it's sort of, you can take from that the creature was indeed killed by the explosion, and it's just one of the others that then hounded you, drawn by the sound of the blast. Oh, fuck off. Very close there. You see it sort of hit an invisible wall in front of me just before it died? Yeah, that's like the activation point for a cutscene where they, well, rape your face, basically. Which side was it? The side, I believe, yep. Disengage the lock. I see, this is where the mechanics that delay you from activating switches come a bit more into play. You have to keep in mind that simply flowing the switch is more complicated than hitting a single button. It's going to require multiple button pushes and several animations to accomplish your task, and you have to weigh that against the risk of being grabbed. Be that by a facehugger or by an alien! So have I actually shown this yet? Can't remember if I've shown yet what happens when you, shut up. Oh, it's just the core going off. Again, all things that bring the alien. Lots of noise and light and heat going on. Yeah. I've heard the alien roar, echoing bizarrely. But not in fact echoing, just being repeated. By many aliens. Yeah. Also, your motion tracker is completely useless in this entire sequence. Which is deeply, deeply irritating, because it still follows the same rules. You cause noise, there's a fair chance the alien will drop down if it's nearby, but you have no way of figuring out whether or not the alien is indeed close by, because motion tracker shows movement bloody everywhere, like that. Also, the motion tracker no longer actually tracks motion in your vicinity. For example, if I had a facehugger running around outside, it wouldn't actually show up on the motion tracker. Because while you're inside the nest, it just gives that sort of generic readings everywhere thing going on. If it actually showed you proper movement as well as the random blips, you might have a chance of, taking things on, but that's the way it stands. You're pretty much, the way it works, you essentially spend your entire time walking around here in crouch, spending lots of time hiding, and wasting a lot of flamethrower fuel when one or more of the aliens inevitably shows up. And I say one or more, because I've seen the alien leap into a vent in front of me, and before it's even finished vanishing, another one, and it's got to be a different one, appearing, somewhere behind me. So that's what you're dealing with. An entire sequence that sort of sets itself up as a tense stealthing sequence, but ends up in a situation where, due to the way the AI works, actively hunting you and such, you spend a lot of time either just sitting in hiding spots or wasting a lot of flame fuel.
This isn't good.
There he goes. I'm sort of under the impression there might actually be different aliens for different stages of the map as well. The one that sort of stalks around inside the main reception area over there, he's sort of guaranteed to drop whenever you first activate that map. So if I walk out of here and then go do something else and come back, he's guaranteed to drop as soon as I walk in there. Which is a bit of a pain in the butt, I'm not going to lie. Also, you'll see, when you eventually come to actually get out of this place, once you've got all the stuff set to overload, he's also guaranteed to instantly start sprinting towards the lift once you cross a certain point. Now, the problem is, because there's no vents nearby the lift, you hit him with the flamethrower and his AI will often get confused, because there's no, easy escape point. So rather than running away, he'll instead just stand there for a couple of seconds, and then resume charging at you. And if you've not got enough flame fuel to repeatedly cause him to stop, there's a more than fair chance he's going to close the distance and skewer you, resulting in you having to redo very large segments of this over and over again. So basically what I'm saying here, it's a wonderful idea. It doesn't quite hold up because it doesn't explain exactly how the nest is going on. You never actually meet a queen. It's not made clear whether or not this is following the planned reproductive cycle of the alien from Alien 1. I mean, perhaps I'm talking out of my butt. Perhaps there is a place inside the nest where I could have looked and seen the queen, and I just never discovered it, but yeah, as far as I'm aware at least, that's never covered. Also, of course, there's major plot holes that are brought up by the fact that if there's been a nest here this entire time, and presumably multiple aliens going around the station, while the timeline established, everyone should have been dead long before we got there. Also, of course, there's the incredible amount of luck we've had to have encountered to have only had, one alien appear at any one time. Again, you could argue that perhaps we didn't. Perhaps when one of the... Oh, fuck's sake, no, not one of these assholes. You could argue, perhaps, that when one of these things has appeared and disappeared, it's not actually the same one that we then see next time. That could be a different one entirely. In fact, perhaps you could argue that makes more sense than just one creature happening to show up every single place Ripley goes. Just has the misfortune of, wandering across, like I've said before, the hunting grounds of multiple aliens. I don't know. Just considering the amount of them there must be, from all the people you find chest-bursted and stuff, I'm not counting on it, basically. And of course there's other issues to do with, how can I put this? Say just to do with the fact that surely people would know, fuck's sake. People would, in my mind at least, notice when one of them gets killed or blown up or shot, flushed out an airlock, and then they encounter another one. That's the kind of thing you'd take notice of. I mean, you could argue perhaps that people who encounter multiple aliens don't live long enough to tell about it, but the idea that absolutely no one has, killed one of these things, and then, happen to notice enough ones around anyway, and no one's ever communicated that to anyone. I don't buy it. I mean, surely you notice that if sightings of the creature occurred on two different sides of the station, for example, roughly the same time, if that happens once, you can say, perhaps one of the people involved was mistaken. If that keeps happening a lot, then pretty soon you've got to realise you're not dealing with one creature anymore. You're dealing with multiples. I don't know. See, I think I would have been able to buy it better if we'd come down here and encountered people getting chest bursted for the first time. If, the one we flushed into the middle of the gas giant was indeed the only one that was active, and we had the misfortune of coming down here just as a bunch more were hatching. That I could have bought, after a fashion. But the idea that all of these have been pouncing around at the exact same time and no one's ever noticed, I just don't buy that. Speaking of, how do I get to that? There's a vent around here somewhere, I'm pretty sure. Don't for the life remember where it is, but there's definitely a vent around here somewhere. So activating the second core overload sequence is definitely one of the more difficult segments of doing this. I remember that much. I mean, I think pretty much as soon as you activate the second core, that's when is it? Yeah, I think once you activate the second core, that's when sort of the alien properly, reappears within the game. As in, that's when they actually start genuinely chasing you, as opposed to just appearing in a few scripted cutscenes kind of deal. Not really cutscenes, you know what I mean? A few scripted appearances in the distance. That's something to get real, as far as I remember. Was this the vent? This might have been the vent. No, for Pete's sake. Go away! Yeah, the first time one of those goes at you, it's terrifying. Second time, it's startling. The third time, it's becoming irritating, if I'm perfectly honest with you. And the facehuggers, we'll be encountering a lot of those, and I mean a lot. Towards the end of the game, I think there's like an entire gauntlet sequence, as I recall, where it's just like 2 or 3 of those in each bloody room you go into. I'm not even joking. It gets ridiculous towards the end. It really does. Apparently this wasn't the room I wanted either. Wasted quite important flame fuel killing that little shit. As it turns out, for more or less nothing. I hear cracking. Why did I hear cracking? But I'm also disappointed that at no point do you ever encounter any actual chest bursters. I think it's a bit of a shame, really. Just high. I can't remember whether or not we're at the stage yet, whether it starts dropping. Ooh. Guess that answers that question. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty much active now. That's something else you have to contend with. Killing the facehuggers and the eggs. That will occasionally count as sufficient means to summon it. It'll come after you to find out what's going on with the babies. Seriously, where the hell is that vent? I don't remember taking this long to find. First time round. Then again, first time round I was probably being a bit more attentive. You know that? As they say, never mind. Never mind. I hear it. Where is it? Hear it roaring and stomping. Don't see it though. That's never a good sign. Add in the complication of the fact that when you've got a weapon equipped, your turning speed gets like halved. So you gotta say, do I want to be able to turn faster, or do I want to have my weapon ready to go faster? Them's your options, kid.